Good day and welcome back to another World of Warcraft video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at basically the Nighthold Raid, why you should do it, and all of the added benefits of the Nighthold Raid, and essentially, to cut a long story short, the big benefit, which is getting the two potential mounts, the Atriarch mounts, and these mounts are very cool. Now you only have to do the raid on mythic difficulty. However, to do the raid you will have to go to the Suramar area of the Legion expansion. So if you cannot access it, if you cannot get the Dalaran Hearthstone, you may have to do the introductory quest line to the Legion expansion, but that's okay. It's not a major train smash to have to do the introductory quest line, as long as obviously you are able to complete it with your character. I highly suggest going back with a max level character that has decent gear. Once you get to Dalaran, you just simply have to hop down on your mount and travel to the Nighthold location, which will be in the city of Suramar. Now the city of Suramar is literally directly below Dalaran, so you shouldn't have any major issues getting there. Of course, maybe you might struggle depending on yourself, but you shouldn't have any major issues. Once you get to Suramar, you're going to go directly across from the blue portal location. Now you might be saying, Cole, that's a bit confusing. Why am I going across from the dungeon, not the raid? Well, you'll go across from the dungeon and enter the Order, the Sanctum of Order. You'll head to this teleport pad, which will take you down, and from here you're going to run through to the raid. So although it looks like it's obviously easy to get to, you actually need to, I wish you could double jump there, you actually need to go down here, and then as you go down here you'll start heading towards the raid. Now don't get confused by all these rooms. You'll see this kind of patch of debris, of like broken kind of opening. Head there and turn right as if you're going to the raid, if through the Sanctum Deaths, and you're pretty much good to go. Now, before we talk about the raid, obviously, let's talk a little bit about what you can get from it and why we want to do it. So the main thing is making sure it's on mythic difficulty. My item level was 616 at the time of doing this video during the course of the War Within. But if you have any max level character, generally speaking, after you get some kind of decent gear, or even starter gear, you should be able to come back here and do it fine. The big attraction is the Hellfire Core mounts, which are obviously a massive, like awesome reward for doing this raid. Now, it's not only that, there's actually some really nice class-based sets that you can get from this. I think the class-based sets are really nice, so I highly suggest that you grab those as well. And yeah, there's just a ton of incentive of going into these, you know, like, how can I say, into these raids. There's just a whole bunch of great stuff to get from different armor sets, and obviously from just a whole bunch of other benefits like the mounts, and of course some unique weaponry. So there's tons to get. There are also some pets and things, but I mean, I'm not a huge pet collector, so that's not a huge draw card for me, unfortunately. But I do understand that for some people it's gonna be something attractive. Now, of course, the raid itself is actually super straightforward. So unlike a lot of other raids, I don't think you need a guide to run through this raid. As long as you pretty much just go through and follow, you know, pretty much the prompts that are presented to you, you should be fine. The only real section is the portals, which we'll talk about, and the one section where there can be a very long RP that can technically prevent you from making progress. So that's really about it. But yeah, tons of great sets, and yeah, let's move on. So starting the raid is super duper simple. Basically enter the raid and you can take the quest if you want, but there's not a huge incentive to. Start the raid, and the first section, the sewer section, is incredibly linear. Basically you will go in a direct straight line pretty much through all three bosses. You'll start with Scorpion, and then you'll move through to the Anomaly, and then you'll move through to Teliax. And honestly, this is super duper simple. So I don't expect anyone to really have any major issues here. You should realistically just have a pretty straightforward time. You literally follow a direct line. Like, you cannot actually go off the wrong path pretty much. In the sewer section, it's literally linear, so it's super duper easy to get through. Then next will be Chromatic Anomaly. This one is actually also very easy to get to, but there's a long RP wait that you have to go through before the door will open. Don't get confused, don't panic, don't freak out, don't, oh my gosh, why isn't the door opening? The door will open. I promise you it will open. It will take a long time. Like, it's going to take about 10 minutes almost, but it will open. The door will open. You will be able to get through. Don't panic. It isn't a huge train smash. Okay. Once the RP has finished, you can then take on the Chromatic Anomaly. This is super duper simple, so don't worry either. Here you can very easily go and defeat the boss immediately and then move on to Teliac. So like I said, these first 3 bosses, super duper simple and linear without needing to really think or do too much in the way of mapping or moving or anything like that. So next you move on to Teliac. For him, you will have to take out these little slimes that you see along the ground. It's not like a major issue, but you will have to get rid of them. They will then spawn a mini boss called Sludgerax, and then after you defeat Sludgerax, you will be able to face Teliac. So all pretty much in a direct line. Again here, nothing too crazy. I think for the most part, you can essentially skip to this the next part, because the next part does get a little bit interesting, because the map opens up a little bit in the raid and you can choose a couple directions to go, but ultimately it doesn't really matter. So once you defeat Teliac, you're going to head up these stairs. After you complete the first flight of stairs, you'll move to like a mini semicircle ring, take out the enemies, and then move to the right and move up the next flight of stairs. So there's 2 flights of stairs, nothing too wild. Again, very simple. Move up this ramp and then turn left, and you'll move up 1 more flight of stairs, and then eventually you'll come to a big open area where you'll find the remainder of the bosses throughout the raid. So this part is fairly simple. Once you get to the stairs, the first boss you will take on is Spellblade Uriel, and then you can choose to either go to Astromancer's Rise and the other area located there, or you can move to the captain's headquarters and go down to Croxus. It doesn't matter. Whichever route you take ultimately doesn't matter, because there are 2 teleporters on either side that I'll point out to you that you're going to need for once you defeat all the bosses. So you have to defeat Spellblade Uriel, you have to defeat the boss at Astromancer's Rise, the boss at Shelterite Terrace, the boss at the headquarters, and Croxus. And once you do, then you will be able to access the portals. So we'll take on the boss in Astromancer's Rise, as it's directly from Spellblade Uriel. You'll see this little staircase here, and I'll run up it, and then I just take out the boss. It's as simple as that, super duper easy, quick, painless, and yeah, no real issues, strings, problems, or anything attached. It's all a fairly simple process. Once we take him out though, I do want to point out something before you move on. So once you take out the boss, which is great, you then can run back, not to Astromancer's Rise, but back to a portal. And this portal is important for later on, should you choose to use this one. Like I said, there are 2, but you will need these portals to access the last 2 bosses of the raid. So you can see, obviously, when my characters run out, I'm just showing you, we've run from the boss, which was up there. This is Astromancer's Rise down this staircase. You run beyond that staircase, and then you come to another little ramp. And this ramp takes you to a portal, and that portal, that orb, that teleporter can take you to the final 2 bosses, but it will only activate after you have completed all of the bosses on this floor. And you have to do all of them. So for me, usually what I do is I do Spellblade Uriel, then I do the Magistrix, and then what I do is I move on to Croxus. Then after Croxus, I do the Captain, and then I leave Shelterite Terrace for last. So I do like a big old loop-to-loop. But you are welcome to do whichever order, way, which, and how you feel like doing, because ultimately that is, yeah, realistically the best scenario for you. So yeah, Roxas is very simple. You run down to the very bottom of the map, and eventually you come to the Shattered Walkway. You'll find 3 kind of demon lords summoning a boss, defeat them, and Croxus will appear. Now, one thing I do want to say, technically Croxus can one-shot you if you let him live long enough, but honestly your gear should be so high this should not be an issue. You loot Croxus's loot from a chest that's just behind you, but what you will do is mainly speak to Khadgar, who's next to the chest, and he will teleport you to the top of the ramp. Now when you're at the top of the ramp, you don't want to go left straight away. You want to run back up the stairs and then turn left. A lot of people turn left straight away. That's not the route to go. You want to go back up the stairs like as if you're heading back to the Astromancer's Rise, but instead of going right, we're going left so we can complete the circuit. You'll see a staircase in the distance, and that's the staircase you want to go up. On your way to the headquarters, you will find, or the captain's quarters, you will find the second teleporter, and you can use that one if you finish with the captain's quarters, but again, doesn't really matter which one you use, doesn't matter what order you defeat these guys, and just defeat a boss that's close to a teleporter as your last boss so that you're not running around all over the place. Once you've defeated the captain's quarters boss, head down the stairs through the room, so not back where you came from but rather through the room, and then head down the stairs and you'll be back in the courtyard by Spellblade Oriel. You can just run directly back through the Shelterite Terrace. That's usually what I do, and then I defeat the boss at Shelterite Terrace and then finally move back to the portal. So I do like a full circle kind of thing. It's just easier for me, but hey, you know, to each their own realistically at the end of the day. So Shelterite Terrace, you can see it here. This is just like kind of a little botanical garden type of thing. Again, super duper simple. There are 3 bosses here. You can defeat all of them relatively easily. You don't have to really do anything special. So again, defeat the bosses, loot them, and then head back to a teleporter. So instead of now running around to the next boss, we're going to go directly through to the teleporter, and I'll be using the teleporter in Astromancer's Rise. You're welcome to use the one by the captain's quarters. It doesn't make a difference, so it's all entirely up to you. You can see me pointing them out on the map there for you. So I'll go to the one on Astromancer's Rise. Again, you can see the staircase where we went up to take the boss. Instead of going left, I'm going to go right, and I'll find the portal there. Once I get to the portal, I then right click and I say teleport to Nightspire. This will take me to the second from last boss, and that's basically it pretty much. So the second from last boss is pretty straightforward. You have to kill all of her little minions, and she will then proceed to have an extensive RP as always, and wait for her RP to finish, and then you will be able to take her out. Once you fight her, just note you will have to defeat her 3 times in total. So you'll beat her, she'll rewind time, you'll defeat her, she'll rewind time again, defeat her once more, rewind time, defeat her once more. Yeah, pretty much rinse and repeat, same process, same process, same process. So once you have defeated her, then you are good to go. And yeah, at that point, what I would say is you then head back to the teleporter, and then from there you select the final place to teleport. So you literally run back to the teleporter you came from, you click it again, so right click it, okay cool, and then say the Spire of Night, and then bam, you are at the Font of Night. And here a little bit more RP, of course, a lot of RP. Actually, honestly, the Gul'dan fight, I think you will fight the boss for about 2 seconds, but have to experience probably around about a minute worth of RP at certain points. He has an RP for changing his first form, he has an RP for changing his second form, he has an RP for when the 3rd secret phase of Mythic comes out. He just has an RP all over the place, so he's just very intense, very hectic. But yeah, ultimately at the end of the day, I think you should have enough of an idea as to how, yeah, you just wait for the RP. He's not functionally difficult at all. You just stand around, wait for the RP, and you're done. And that's that. After you defeat the Shadow Within, or the Demon Within I should say, you can loot the body, hopefully you get the mounts, and then you're good. You'll be done with the raid. So that's it. Very simple one, very cool actually. Great loot and rewards, nice sets, and just, yeah, an awesome time. That's it from me. See you guys in the next one. Till then, take care, and bye.